Welcome to Tell Me More Stories Told as podcast.
It's great to be here.
Get ready, everyone, because we're about to plunge into the really captivating story of Taylor Momsen.
Yeah, she's definitely an artist with a fascinating path, an American artist who's navigated, well, some very different worlds.
Totally. Acting, music, we've gathered a whole lot of moments from her journey. And our mission today is basically to unpack that, find the most compelling insights for you. And trust me, there are some surprising twists along the way.
Oh, definitely. I think what's immediately striking is just how incredibly young she was when she first stepped into the limelight.
Right, like super young.
Yeah, born in St. Louis, summer of '93.
Okay.
And she was already doing a national shake and bake commercial at age 3.
3 years old. Wow. That's really something.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it, how those kinds of early experiences shape you later on.
Absolutely. And it wasn't just commercials for long, was it, by 2000?
Right, exactly.
No.
She lands the role of Cindy Lou, who in How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
I mean, talk about iconic. Everyone knows Cindy Lou Who.
It's a role that's still so beloved, yeah. What a way to be introduced to, well, basically the entire world.
And wasn't there music involved even then?
There was, that's another layer. She was only 7, and she recorded Where Are You Christmas for the movie soundtrack.
Oh, I remember that song. It pops up every Christmas.
It's become a total holiday staple, and think about that, recording a hit song at 7.
It's a remarkable achievement, really.
And she got award nominations for the role too, Blockbuster Award, Saturn Award, Young Artist Award. It just underlines the impact she had even as a kid.
So she wasn't just a flash in the pan after Whoville.
Not at all. She kept building this pretty impressive acting resume.
Like what?
Films like Hansel and Gretel, Spy Kids 2, The Island of Lost Dreams.
Oh, right. Spy Kids.
Yeah. And also We Were Soldiers. So a real mix of things.
It just sounds like such an extraordinary childhood, you know. Basically spent navigating Hollywood sets.
It was a significant amount of work, especially for someone so young. And she had a younger sister, Sloane, who was also acting.
Oh, interesting. Runs in the family.
Seems like it. Also, a little bit of trivia. She has partial Russian descent and was raised Catholic initially. Studied ballet, too.
So a very busy, very structured early life.
Very. And what's interesting is looking back, she auditioned for Hannah Montana.
No way!
Yeah, she was apparently in the top 3. But she later said she was actually happy Miley Cyrus got it.
Huh. Why is that?
Well, maybe it suggests she was already leaning towards a different kind of path, maybe something less, teen pop machine.
That makes sense. Less Disney Channel, more something else.
Exactly. And she did other films around that time, too, like Underdog and Paranoid Park, showing some range.
And then came the show that I think a lot of people really remember her for.
Gossip Girl.
Yeah, Gossip Girl. She became Jenny Humphrey.
Right, starting in 2007. That really cemented her as a familiar face for, like, a whole generation of viewers. It was a big chapter.
Right. For sure. But her role changed over time, didn't it?
It did. Her appearances became less frequent, sort of faded a bit over the seasons.
Was there a reason for that?
Well, it eventually led to an indefinite hiatus, and then she left as a regular cast member after season 4, around 2011.
Okay.
And it's telling, I think, that she later described her whole child acting experience as, alienating.
Alienating. How so?
She even mentioned being bullied after the Grinch movie came out.
Oh, wow. That's rough. Kids can be cruel.
Yeah. So you can see how those experiences might push someone towards wanting a different kind of creative outlet, maybe one that felt more hers.
Which brings us right to that pivot, doesn't it? The big move.
The move to music.
Yeah.
August 2011, she makes it really clear. Acting's done. Music is the focus now.
That's a bold move,
Right.
Stepping away from a successful acting career.
It is. But what's compelling is how strongly she felt about it. She said something like, "Music is where I can be me."
Ah, that's key.
Yeah, drawing this really clear line between playing a character and expressing her own truth through songs. It wasn't just dabbling. It felt like a real commitment.
A pursuit of something more authentic for her, maybe?
I think so. And it wasn't like music came completely out of nowhere.
Right. You mentioned the Grinch song.
Well, even before that, back in 2002, she'd recorded a couple of songs for a compilation album, School's Out, Christmas.
Okay, so the seeds were there early on, like little musical breadcrumbs.
Exactly, a little foreshadowing. But the real dedicated push came with forming her band.
The Pretty Reckless.
The Pretty Reckless, yeah. Formed in 2009. That was the real starting point for her as a rock artist.
And things moved pretty fast from there, didn't they?
Seems like it. They signed a deal with Interscope Records that same year, March 2009.
Interscope, big label.
Big label. And they were already touring by the spring, opening for the Veronicas.
So jumping right in, no messing around.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And a really crucial part of the band's sound and identity came from her collaboration with guitarist Ben Phillips.
Okay, tell me about that.
He joined pretty early on and became this key creative partner. They co-write the songs together.
So it's a real partnership.
Absolutely. She's the lead vocalist, obviously, but she also plays rhythm guitar, and their writing partnership really shaped the band's whole direction.
And their first album, Light Me Up,
Yeah.
that made some noise, right?
It did, especially in the UK where it came out first. August 2010, reached number 6 on the charts there.
Number 6 is pretty good for a debut.
Definitely. Hit number 18 in Ireland, too. And the singles, Make Me Wanna Die, Miss Nothing.
Yeah, no, Make Me Want to Die. That got a lot of airplay.
It did. Miss Nothing peaked at 39. Just Tonight was another single. They had this raw energy that clearly connected.
And didn't some of those songs end up in movies and shows?
They did. Tracks were featured in the movie Kick-Ass.
Oh, yeah.
And also TV shows like The Vampire Diaries and maybe, ironically, Gossip Girl.
Huh. Full circle, kind of. Her music ending up on the show she left.
It's a funny overlap, isn't it? Past and present colliding.
Now, you mentioned surprising twists earlier. There's a really weird one involving songwriting, right?
Oh, yeah. This is pretty unique. So, Heidi Montag. Television personality.
From the hills.
That's the one. Well, she recorded a song called Blackout. Turns out Taylor Momsen wrote that song when she was 8 years old.
Wait, what? 8? Heidi Montag recorded a song written by an 8-year-old Taylor Momsen.
Yeah. Can you even imagine hearing someone else sing lyrics you wrote when you were, in 3rd grade?
That is bizarre. What did Taylor think?
Apparently, she found it pretty surprising and kind of amusing, which, how else would you react?
True. But wow, shows she was writing really early.
Definitely highlights that songwriting spark was there from way back, even if it surfaced in a, unexpected way.
So after Light Me Up, the Pretty Reckless kept grinding, right? Touring.
Oh, yeah. They really built their following on the road. Toured with Evanescence in fall 2011.
Okay, good fit.
Headlined their own tour, the Medicine Tour, in North America in 2012. And they supported Marilyn Manson later that year, too.
Marilyn Manson?
Yeah.
Okay, so definitely leaning into a harder rock sound.
Signaled that direction, for sure. These tours were super important for honing their live show and, finding their place in the rock scene.
Makes sense.
She also did a guest vocal spot on an album by Paul Barker from Ministry.
Oh, cool. Showing some versatility.
Yeah. And then their 4th single, Kill Me, came out end of 2012. And guess where it was featured prominently?
Oh, let me guess. Gossip Girl again.
The very last song in the Gossip Girl series finale.
Wow. That's actually kind of poetic, isn't it? Closing that chapter with her new musical voice.
A nice bit of symmetry, yeah.
Who does she cite as influences, musically?
It's a really interesting mix. You've got grunge icons like Kurt Cobain, Chris Cornell.
Right, yeah, you can hear that sometimes.
Classic rock giants like the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, The Who, Pink Floyd.
The Crakes.
AC/DC's energy, the theatricality of Marilyn Manson, Oasis's swagger, and also Shirley Manson from Garbage.
That's a diverse list. From classic rock to 90s alternative and more industrial stuff.
It really is. And you can kind of hear echoes of all that in their sound, can't you? It's this blend of hard rock, alt rock, bit of post-grunge, some bluesy elements.
Yeah, it's not just one thing.
Definitely shows her wide range of musical taste.
So the band's momentum kept building.
Yeah.
What about the second album?
Going to Hell, released March 2014. And this one was a massive breakthrough for them.
How so?
Debuted at number 5 on the Billboard 200 chart.
Wow, top 5.
Yeah. And they actually broke records with it. They became the first female-fronted band to have 2 #1 singles in a row on the rock radio charts.
No kidding. Which songs?
Heaven Knows and Fucked Up World both hit #1.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Especially in rock radio, which can be pretty male-dominated.
It was a really powerful statement, solidified their place in the contemporary rock world, and showed they could connect with a big audience in that genre.
Must have been a lot of touring for that album, too.
Oh, extensive touring, all over the place. They even supported Fall Out Boy in Europe, just constantly building that fan base.
And the success continued. Album number 3.
Yep. Who You Selling For came out October 2016, and guess what?
Let me guess. Another #1 single.
You got it. The single Take Me Down also hit #1 on the Billboard mainstream rock chart.
incredible consistency. They really found their groove in their audience, didn't they?
Absolutely. They clearly found their voice and people were responding to it. It felt like they'd carved out their own space.
It's also cool that she collaborated with other women in rock later on.
Right. In 2020, she was featured on that Evanescence track, Use My Voice, alongside Amy Lee and several other really strong female rock vocalists.
That felt like a significant moment.
It really did. A moment of, like, unity and shared strength within the genre.
Okay, let's pause for just a second. If you're enjoying this deep dive into Taylor Momsen's journey from acting to rock stardom,
And all the twists and turns.
then definitely make sure you hit that subscribe button. That way, you won't miss any of our future explorations right here on Tell Me More.
All right, so we've covered acting, we've covered the massive success of the Pretty Reckless. But there's another facet to her career, too.
Right, the modeling, which again started incredibly early.
Yeah, we mentioned Ford models at age 2. Just highlights again how public her life was from the very beginning, in multiple ways.
And she had thoughts on that later, didn't she? About starting so young.
She did. She mentioned feeling like she had no choice about that early modeling stuff.
Which is tough to hear, but understandable.
Yeah, and she said it impacted her childhood, which, stands in pretty stark contrast to her later career choices in music, which felt very self-directed.
A real difference between something imposed and something chosen.
Exactly. But she did continue modeling later, though maybe more on her own terms. She signed with IMG Models when she was 14.
Okay, so still involved in the fashion world.
Mm-hmm. She became the face of the British chain New Look for their Spring-Summer 2010 collection.
I think I remember that. And wasn't there a Madonna connection?
Yes. Announced as the face of Madonna's Material Girl fashion line in July 2010.
Wow, Madonna's line, that's big.
Definitely high profile. And she modeled for John Galliano's fragrance Parlez-moi d'amour, appearing in the video campaign. Also did work for Samantha Thavas's handbag line in Japan.
So ads, campaigns, photo shoots. She was really in demand.
She was. And she graced a lot of magazine covers, too. Everything from, like, Page Six magazine and 17.
Right, more mainstream.
To rock mags like Revolver, and then also FHM and Maxim.
Okay, quite a range there, appealing across different audiences.
Definitely shows that multifaceted persona again. FHM even ranked her number 29 in their 2012 Hot 100 list.
Did she ever comment on potentially doing something like Playboy? I feel like that question came up.
It did. Her response was apparently mentioning that she'd taken pictures at the Playboy Mansion, sort of dodging the direct question, but adding another interesting layer to her public image.
Okay. So clearly comfortable navigating that attention.
Seems so. But shifting to something more personal, she formed some really important friendships within the music world.
Yeah, like who?
Particularly with Soundgarden singer Chris Cornell.
Oh, well, a legend.
And also her record producer, Kato Kanwala.
Okay.
And tragically, both of them passed away relatively close together. Cornell in 2017, Kanwala in 2018.
Oh, that's devastating, losing two key figures like that.
It clearly had a profound impact on her. She's spoken pretty openly about it.
How did she cope?
She talked about isolating herself for a while, experiencing depression, which is completely understandable after such huge losses.
Absolutely.
But ultimately, she said she used music, writing music, as a way to cope and process that grief.
Music is therapy, almost.
Yeah, it really underscores how deeply personal and cathartic her art, her music is for her. It's not just a job, it's tied into her life and healing.
Which brings us to their most recent album, right? Death by Rock and Roll.
Released February 2021. And the title itself feels pretty significant, given everything.
Definitely. And didn't that album continue their chart success?
It absolutely did. The title track, Death by Rock and Roll, became their 5th #1 single.
5th. That's incredible.
And that milestone actually made The Pretty Reckless the first female-fronted band ever to achieve 5 #1 rock singles.
That's history right there. Really cements their legacy in rock music.
It really speaks volumes, doesn't it? About their consistency, their connection with the audience, their staying power in the rock landscape. They've carved out a really unique and significant space.
So when you look at the whole picture, Taylor Momsen's journey, it's quite something.
It's such a compelling story, an artist who just fearlessly pursued her own path.
Yeah, navigating these totally different high-pressure worlds. Hollywood as a child, then the fashion industry, then diving headfirst into rock music.
And finding her most sort of authentic expression on stage with her band, that seems to be where she truly landed.
What I find really fascinating is not just that she succeeded in these different fields, because lots of people try different things,
Right.
but that she made a conscious choice to prioritize the one where she felt most genuinely herself, even if it meant leaving something successful behind.
That takes courage. To walk away from acting, from Gossip Girl at that point, and say, no, this is me, music.
It's a powerful testament, I think, to following your true passion, even when it's maybe not the expected path.
Absolutely. It wasn't necessarily the easier path, but it was her path.
Which kind of brings up an interesting question, maybe for you listening.
Yeah.
Thinking about your own life, has there been a pivotal moment, a time when you made a significant change in direction, maybe chasing something more authentic for yourself?
It's definitely something to reflect on. Her story really makes you think about those forks in the road.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the really multifaceted world of Taylor Momsen.
It was great discussing her journey.
This was Tell Me More Stories Told As podcast. We really hope this exploration has sparked your curiosity and maybe given you something new to think about.